And good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you might be watching this. I'm Glenn Crooks, and this is Soccer in the City Live. A couple of good guys are coming on in a moment. Just want to set the scene a little bit for this Soccer in the City Live, which eventually will become a podcast that you can just listen to as well as we look ahead to Sunday when New York City FC is playing host to the San Jose Earthquakes, and the City coming off 11 goals over their last two matches. So who knows what will happen at Yankee Stadium. San Jose's changed a bit, though, now that Matias Almeida is no longer there. But we'll have a good discussion about that. Also, Liverpool, Villarreal ended not long ago at Anfield, and Liverpool with what you would think is a commanding lead in the first leg of that semifinal UCL. And then Man City played yesterday against Madrid, and man, what a match that was. So we'll chat about that a little bit. Obviously, go back and see that 5-4 crazy result on the weekend for New York City FC against Toronto. You've got Seattle trying to become the first MLS team to win the Concacaf Champions League. And that quest begins tonight in the final down in Mexico City. And whatever else that might come up during the course of this. But an exciting little addition to Soccer in the City Live. And thank you very much to the New York City FC ticket office and marketing office. But we have 4 Delta tickets to give away for this Sunday's game against San Jose. And we're going to have a trivia question along the way. So in order to win these tickets, you have to be tuning in live. It's the only way you can win them. And if nobody gets the right answer, or we don't get enough people that want to answer the question, then we'll just hold it in abeyance to the next game. But that's the way it is going to be. And the other thing that's going to happen today is we're going to bring in John Rojas, Roberto Abramowitz, all part of your New York City FC commentating team. And gentlemen, wonderful to see you. I guess we should, since we're live, let's start with the most recent thing that's happened in soccer. Well, 2 things, really. One is the UCL match, and the other is one of my former players is now the co-owner of Gotham. But, we could but that announcement just came out. But Liverpool, Villarreal, and then yesterday Man City, Real Madrid, and this competition really is fantastic. And what are your John? First, what are your thoughts on the match today? It's at Anfield. Man, was it loud? But it always seems to be there, and atmosphere is always at its best there. It seems.
Yeah, very interesting match, Glenn. Liverpool playing back to their fundamentals, playing back to that Liverpool that we love. A couple of seasons ago, they had a little bump, and now they're back into their rhythm again. First half, really intense. Liverpool on the front foot, but Villarreal is sticking to their plan to get out of Anfield with the minimal damage. At the beginning of the second half, I guess Liverpool pushed it a little bit more than in the first half with the same ideas, but probably a little bit more intensity. And they found right away at the 53rd minute own goal from the Peruvian Pervis Estupiñán. And then almost 2-3 minutes after that, Sadio Mane with the second goal. I think knowing how Liverpool is playing, how well they are oiled right now, it's hard for Villarreal, but I mean, it's not a huge amount of goals that they had to overcome, right? I mean, if they propose a real, battle in that game on the second leg, anything can happen. But Liverpool, of course, is in the front foot of this leg.
Roberto, what about yourself? And I thought the best part of the game, personally, there's nothing better than fullback to fullback for a goal, but it was disallowed because Robertson was offside. But
yes,
what are your thoughts?
They had some ridiculous stat of like how many assists they have. Like one had 15 and the other had like 17.
Crazy,
like, oh
yeah.
my goodness!
And
it's not. They're not even wing backs. They're just fullbacks. It's just crazy. That's how good they are. What John said, really, it's this team has found its rhythm. It's found its form. That when they were playing their best soccer, and so they're there again. And I think Villarreal has an absolute uphill battle. They came out of this game very, very lucky, because in the second half, I didn't get to see much of the first half, so I really don't know what happened there. But in the second half and what I saw, I mean, Liverpool had a chance to really put like 2 or 3 other goals in there. So I think that Villarreal came out very, very lucky, and we'll see what's going to happen next week when both games go to Spain.
Yeah, how about that? In opposite days, and that leads you to the Man City match, which really was crazy. I didn't see the expected goal. Sometimes I try to look that up. Did you, John? As far as Man City, it had to be like 6, right?
Most likely, but the first comment that comes to mind as soon as the game is going nuts the way it went is, if you have this kind of game and you have this kind of a score in MLS, everybody's gonna trash the league and say, of course, they are all about the goals and the spectacle, and they don't defend. But since this is Champions League, then a beautiful game of football, an enjoyable game, right? And
It was poorly defended, so
exactly,
that's what you're getting at. I
as
know.
a coaches, you know that. I mean, you had that kind of game with that such a high amount of goals to score. It's full of mistakes.
Yeah,
It's everywhere around. It's full of mistakes. From the team that were twice with 2 goals ahead on the score and couldn't hold it, and the team that came back and pushed this on a way that is wide open right now. So, I mean, Guardiola should finish that game saying, you know what? This is on us. I mean, we had them against the wall once again. I mean, a goal, the start of the game that Manchester City will dream of, because Real Madrid was expecting and waiting for them, playing with a 5-man back line, just trying to overcome on the wings and win those spaces. And Manchester City found a real good way very quickly to get on top and score that first goal. And the game should have changed from then on. It should be a game in which, as we had seen before, Manchester City possess the ball and possess the ball and possess the ball and find probably 1 or 2 other goals, period. And that's it. Right. And the game should end at 3-0 or 2-0. Instead, we saw this back and forth that is, of course, exciting. That was beautiful to watch. But in the technical and the analysis side of the game, it's just nuts.
So they'll play that second leg next Wednesday in Madrid. And Villarreal.
And on the road goals are not a factor.
Yeah,
so
no.
Just one goal game.
But
period.
they are tonight. I don't want to get to Seattle yet, but they are tonight when Seattle plays in the CCL finals against Pumas.
It was such a contrast of the series that Real Madrid played against Chelsea, where they took advantage of every Chelsea mistake, and they were on the front foot for a lot of that game in the first game. And then Chelsea went into Madrid, and they were on the front foot, and they actually had the result that they needed until Madrid came back and then got the other 2 goals and was able to send it to, overtime, and then win it in overtime, or extra time, as you like to call it. So, sorry. And so it's a very different game. So if I'm Pep Guardiola, I mean, I've got to feel good that he's got to feel that he can go into Madrid and play the sort of game that he wants to play, because he saw Chelsea do it. So he's got to feel that he's going to be able to do that. And we're going to have to see how Real Madrid come out in that game, and how they're going to play, and what tactical changes they make versus what they did against Chelsea. I mean, obviously they need goals, so they got to go forward more, as opposed to trying to defend a 3-1 lead, which is what they were doing on the second leg of the Chelsea series.
I think playing at home, Madrid at home has a better home field atmosphere advantage than at the Etihad for Manchester City yesterday. Although one of the commentators who's apparently seen a lot of games there, a lot of big matches, said it was as loud as he's ever heard it. But Real Madrid is a different story, man. It's I don't know. I think it's just more intimidating. I don't think anybody
but Chelsea
would argue.
Wasn't intimidated at all. Chelsea went there and just slapped them around for the first 60, 70 minutes of the game. They didn't care. Atmosphere this. They didn't care. They blew them out of the park for the first 60, 70 minutes, and then Real Madrid was able to come back. But no, they weren't intimidated at all.
All right, I want to show this.
And I don't think Manchester City is going to be intimidated at all either.
Intimidated. I'm just saying it's just it's a bit more thunderous, or there's something. I haven't been in the stadium, so I shouldn't say. I'm going from accounts that I've read from coaches, players, and people that have been at games. But that's just hey. So we're gonna be if we get a proper answer, one that's correct, we're gonna be giving away 4 NYCFC tickets to Delta tickets, and Roberto's going to describe what that is in a moment because he knows the ticket thing. But those are good tickets, and it's for the San Jose match. So here's the question. So you guys can't answer it, but here it is. Tati Castellanos, we know, wears number 11. Who are the other 2 players in the history of New York City FC to wear number 11? All right, and the clue is, and one of the reasons I went with this, there is a clue. And one of them is the top goal scorer against San Jose in New York City's history, and it's not David Villa. He wore number 7 anyway. But Villa, he's the leader against almost every team. But this guy has the lead.
I believe he's the leader in assists against San Jose.
Who, Villa?
Yes.
Okay.
I will tell you this in a second. Yes, he's a leader in assists with 6. Okay. Frank Lampard is the leader in assists, rather in shots, where 6. I mean, sorry. Villa is the leader in assists with 3. Lampard is the leader in shots with 6.
All right. Well, I'll pop this question up every now and then. The first correct answer wins 4 tickets for Sunday. Okay, so that's down now. But
part of not answering means no clues.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how if we don't get any responses, in the next half hour, we'll get.
So how are we getting the response? How are people going to be able to respond?
The way they do anyway. You write on the stream.
In the comments.
Yeah,
yep.
There's a
comment. All right. Well,
that's
going to be stream. Okay. So let's be clear about this, okay? Because the comments from Twitter don't come in over here. So then you would have to go to your Twitter page. On really? Glenn Crooks, whoever puts it on Glenn Crooks' Twitter page first, well, look if it doesn't appear here, then they get it too.
All right. I didn't know that, Roberto. I appreciate it. I thought the 3 things. So this is on my YouTube channel, my Twitter, and my Facebook.
Only the one Facebook from YouTube comes through. No, the one from YouTube comes through too.
Oh, does it? All right. I haven't. All right.
So YouTube, Facebook, I will get comments, but we'll also permit Twitter at Glenn Crooks. And I'll monitor that, and the first correct responder gets the 4 tickets. All right, let's get to the New York City match, and it was about between Man City and the sister clubs had some craziness in their matches this week. Now New York City, they're up. You know what it reminded me? Remember they were up 5-2 in this match against Toronto FC. Remember, they were up 5-2 on aggregate, Roberto, against Comunicaciones. We were at that game in Guatemala City. So that's on the road. They're tired. Understood that, that maybe some things working against them. But here, they're at home. They're fresh. They're clobbering Toronto. Toronto's not even in the match. Yeah. And up 5-2, and the next thing you know, it's 5-4, and they're.
I said it on the broadcast, and I said, "Welcome back to Guatemala City."
Yeah,
which has nothing to do, to be honest.
It was the same. It does have something to do. I mean, it has to do with the fact that this is a team that was up easily, comfortably by 3 goals, and then all of a sudden they're suffering at the end to hold on to a result. I mean, obviously this would have been a tie versus a win. Had they allowed 1 more goal in Guatemala City, they would have been eliminated.
Yes, I think there's a parallel, John. I mean, it was 5-2 in both matches, essentially, right?
Right, and then New York City FC take out the whole column of the team and play with guys that are not the starters on that game that are not ready. So you are focusing on finishing the game, whatever it takes.
Yep.
And this one is a different. You stay with your top players. You're still competing. It has nothing to do with an elimination spirit on that game, on that leg. So that in those 2 elements, not having your best players and not having the pressure of elimination makes a totally different environment. So
I agreed.
I
But you can
I
go
still
with
see the
come on.
parallels. Yeah, I still see the parallels.
John,
You're taking this a really step too far. Come
No,
on, man.
That's all right.
because that's the context. Context matters, especially in football.
No, it absolutely did and does. But the 5-2 similarity was just too much
We
to
both
escape
thought of
from
it
me.
at the same time, basically. So in different broadcasts, in different parts of the
That doesn't
press
make you
box.
right.
So it must have. Oh,
No.
just because it didn't reach Portland.
If
So
you
did
go
you
to the stadium 30 years in a row to every single game, doesn't mean that you know about football or that you are, you're just watching the game.
All right.
for
Well,
so
here
many
is
years.
my favorite goal of the game was this one, and then when we come back, I'll tell you why. First time ball, Acevedo with the inside of the right foot finds Amundsen. Now it's Thiago, and now it's Parks. New York City 4, Toronto 2, and Keaton Parks exalts the supporters behind the goal to our left.
It is just wave after wave of relentless pressure from NYCFC. Another flowing move after Cozy Thompson gives it away. And Keaton Parks, after Thiago gets challenged on the back post, Keaton Parks is in the right place at the right time and just sweeps it home. Absolutely magnificent.
John, what's your guess as to why I like that goal so much?
Because of who scored?
Not necessarily, although I guess he's
Okay.
one of the 69 goals
Because
scored
it's
by
coming
Americans
right
in
to
major.
left, back to the center.
Well, look at all the movement,
Construction.
off the ball. First of all, Acevedo playing it in one out of the air, just nice little side foot into the path of Amundsen. Castellanos checks, doesn't get the ball, spins out. Parks, he lets it run, and then he gets to the goal, doesn't turn off. And it reminds me of this Michael Beale, a great clinician. He's actually an assistant at Aston Villa now. And I've seen him a lot, and he does this great stuff in the box with attacking players. But his terminology, don't turn off. And we've probably heard this before, but that was the thing. And I used it with my teams ever since. And that's exactly how Parks scored. He didn't turn off, man. He just kept moving. And the movement on that goal was sensational. Not that all the other goals were pretty good too.
One of the most difficult things to do on a regular basis for players, being on, not turn off all of a sudden.
How many
Just
times do
being
we
on.
see like a ball hit the post
Just-
or the crossbar, and then the player reacts too late because they weren't on?
Right. And things like Tati does, right? I mean, the ball doesn't get to him. He just keep moving, opening the spaces for others. It's just not about one guy. And because Keaton is not off, he's on the play. He is without any kind of mark around him because he's just arriving to a space that no one is expecting, an attacker to be, or in his case, a midfielder to be on quickly.
And then the other great goal, and again, it wasn't the guy who scored the goal. Collins makes the tackle to take it away from Michael Bradley.
Oh, yeah.
But did you guys see where Collins, I'm sorry I don't have that one, where Collins ended up at the end of that play? Did you see where he was? So Santi Rodriguez scored and drilled it to the back post. But if Santi Rodriguez had missed it on the back post, it would have been tucked home by Collins. So he makes a sliding tackle on Bradley, gets up, and just tears ass to the back post. It was phenomenal.
But before we move on, Glenn.
Yes.
I think Roberto has a little tidbit about that Keaton Parks goal, and he has it between chest and back, and I want him to get it out.
I actually do.
I know you do. That's why I'm saying it.
All right. So I actually have it like underlined. So Keaton Parks in MLS, right? In MLS becomes the first American goal scorer since Keaton Parks. And that wasn't until it was last year, September 18th against FC Cincinnati in Cincinnati. He scored the first goal of the game in a 2-1 victory. Castellanos scored in the 60th for the victory. Brenner had scored for Cincinnati in the 4th minute. Remember, that's when New York City was suffering on the road every single game. They couldn't get results, and they were having all sorts of issues, and they suffered against a really horrific Cincinnati team. Well, Keaton Park scored in that game, and that was the last American and actually non-Hispanic goal that New York City had scored in MLS until Keaton Park scored again.
Well, that's why when I'm bringing John Rojas posted this on Twitter today, the number of MLS goals by nation, and this was excellent, John. This
yeah,
was excellent.
and we gotta do credit to credit is due. So it's Fox Soccer who put out the list.
Okay, and
but it's excellent.
Yeah, so I can't make it any larger on this screen, but and John, you saw that I retweeted this, and I had a couple of thoughts. And number one, and I don't know what you guys think, I would never have guessed that the USA players had that many more goals than any other country. Well,
they do have a lot more players than any other country too.
Understood.
So but that is part of it. Now, Argentina has the largest amount of players from one country in MLS outside of the U.S. and Canada. But I think it is surprising that the amount of goals that Americans have scored is that much higher because, I mean, obviously we don't think of American players as huge goal scorers. I think Ricardo Pepi last year was like the only American player within the top 10.
Yeah, but
that's what I mean. And I recognize they don't.
A big point because as much as players you have in numbers, right? You're not expecting goals from your center backs often, from your goalkeeper, from your right. So that makes the range and the pool of players that actually are expecting goals from less than actually what Americans are. And then you always think, and it's a criticism for the league in other years, that most of the categories are always led by internationals. Well, now you have Americans leading on this, and it's important. I think it's another showing of the way the league is growing.
And this is the other thing. So this was the top 4 MLS Player of the Week. All goal scorers and all non-Americans. And so that's again, those two things came like back to back this morning when I was looking at things, and I found it pretty interesting for sure.
Well, if you look at the leading scorers in the league right now, so Jesus Jimenez is number 1 with 6 goals, tied with Sebastián Driussi. Then after that, it's Brandon Vasquez. He's American.
Driussi.
Valentin Castellanos. What? Driussi. What did I say? Driussi, right?
Driussi, but it's Driussi. But I said
Driussi. Sorry, this is text is really small. Let me make it larger. Sorry.
Did you say
Brandon
Vasquez
has 5 goals. Right, he's American. Valentin Castellanos, Argentinian, has 5. Chicharito Hernandez, Mexican, has 5. Jeremy Ebobisi has 5. He's American. Jesus Ferreira has 5. He's American. And Leonardo Campana, he's Ecuadorian. He has 5. So now you've got 3 Americans, right, within the top 10, if not, even less, that are there. You have 15 goals by 3 players right there.
Well, and it all depends. In the case of Jesus, for example, and the list that we were talking about that Fox Soccer put out, how do they count him? By birth or by international team?
I wondered that too.
I think international team. I would say international team.
Okay, in that sense, he's American.
Yes.
But if you count him by birth, then it's a different story.
I was wondering if is he counting naturalized citizens? Is he?
John wants to reclaim him for Colombia.
No, not at all.
So here's let's back to the 5-4 game against Toronto, and I thought Ronnie Dyla and Bob Bradley post game kind of similar ways of looking at why New York City's pretty difficult to defend.
We have so many different qualities inside the team now. If last year we had more wingers that were inside and there were not so much speed, but there was more work and like midfielders. But now we have wingers also, so we can play wide and can attack 1v1. And we have now with Santi and Keaton also, they play higher up in the pitch with as 8, so we have more pressure up front. And we have qualities that suit each other. So I think it's harder for the opponents now to stop us, whatever it's in established play or in a transition or in set play. And I don't know how many chances we created today, but we had 10 chances against Seattle. We scored 1 goal. We had 10 chances against Salt Lake. We scored 6. And today I'm sure we had 10 also, and we scored 5. Keep on producing 10. We have a good chance to score that kind of amount of goals in the future as well.
Yeah, so talking about all the different options. And then here is Bob Bradley. He's first talking about his son, kind of referring to the error that was made in the midfield to lead to a goal. But more importantly is what he says right after.
I'm saying it about Michael, but I could say it about everybody. There was hesitancy. There's moments where if they've got a guy running through and there's a guy right in front of you, now you're not sure, should I step to the ball or do I have to deal with the runner? And so they were able to put us on our heels in that stretch. And I would have liked us to find a way to regain that collective intensity and push them back a little bit.
So there you have it. So that was very instructive, I think, for anybody that's playing New York City, is how you organize. And the best way to organize is players behind the ball and don't get caught chasing the game. But when you have mobility, the way New York City can sometimes show, like they did on Sunday, then you're nearly impossible to defend. Then you got to finish. What do you guys think?
Oh, they're finishing, right? 11 goals in the last 2 games. They had 22 shots, 10 of them on frame during the last game. 11 on frame, Jesus. So it's just tough. It's an avalanche, and it's just wave after wave after wave of attacks, and people are just coming at you from different areas, which is just great to see, because everybody, the top 4. Okay, they're switching positions all the time. They're moving around. So it's really a lot of fun to see, and they're playing with a lot of precision, and they're, as I said, they're moving well. But you also see there's a lot of energy there too. There's a lot of things that are going on over there. There's a great understanding between all 4 players. And what I start thinking about when I see that, it's all great. And I like the way Santi Rodriguez has stepped up, because I thought that Santi had a tough game.
I know what you're going to say.
Right. Santi had a tough game in Seattle, but then, played very well against Seattle in Red Bull Arena, and has played magnificently in the last 2 games. And so you were at a point where you were missing Maxi Morales a lot. And now you're starting to think, well, maybe we can manage Maxi's minutes throughout the season, so he's more effective once the playoffs come. And Santi sort of looks like somebody who's going to be hard to move out of that position right now.
It all depends, and I think Ronnie sees it that way. Right now, of course, you don't have Maxi, and you slide in Santi, and he does the job. But something that we could take out of that Seattle game is that Santi struggles having to pressure the defensive pressure in front of him is better than tracking back, something that Maxi Morales does really good, right? So they switch a little bit the approach for the second half on that game. He got better at it, and then the rivals used to start them pressuring from the beginning of the play. On Toronto, for example, teams that play out of the back more often, then Santi is able to pressure more in front of him and not need to track back that much. But when he has to track back, it's a huge amount of field that he has to run, and he's not ready yet. He's not yet to do that. That's why, 1, the opposition counts. 2, how often can you use, or how soon can you use Maxi Morales on that? You got to remember that Roberto we're talking about what he was talking about, the amount of movement between the 4 at front, right? There's 20, 19, and 21-year-old kids. So energy is there, right? Energy is there.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, what we
Juventud Divino Tesoro.
Being on, doing the click, I had to go back. It's not easy if you don't do that very often. And when you're the number 10, that he didn't play that much, Santi, before, you don't have that in your mind that often. Look at those
Check.
Brazilians. I don't like the last word, but the rest of it is beautiful.
Yeah, that's that was the banner that was unfolded. Well, it's tongue in cheek. I mean, I refer to and this guy Bob Bradley is part of it. We're part of the New Jersey soccer mafia, so I have no problem. I understand mafia has.
Well, you are the
don.
So.
Pardon? Oh yeah. No, I'm not the don. That's probably Tony Miola. He's
right.
You gotta go. Somebody that at least has the heritage.
Yeah, but he doesn't live in Jersey anymore.
He doesn't. He does. Nah. That's true. That's true.
He's in Florida now.
Neither does Harks. Ramos, I think, is back here. There's a bunch of us still. So we're all good. I just talked to Thomas Dooley for my Sirius XM show.
Oh, cool.
And, it was cool because
number 5.
Yeah. Now I'm sorry, I just interrupted because I kept thinking about the banner. And a word that came to my mind instead of mafia, I will put it out there, like Brazilian mestres.
The what?
What? Mistress?
Mestres. No mistress. Mestre.
Mestres. Yeah.
Right. Because mestre.
All right, what does that mean?
Teacher. The mestre in Portuguese is the teacher in capoeira, is the sensei, the teacher, the maestro.
Yeah, all right. I like the sensei. Very nice.
One of the top maestros right now is Jurgen Klopp. So Thomas Dooley, a pretty interesting part of this conversation I had with him. Well, I thought of it because he played with all these the Jersey soccer mafia, with Harks and Miola and Ramos on the U.S. men's national team. But after he left playing the game, he started to get into coaching, and one of the first things he did is he went and observed Jurgen Klopp. So here's what he told me, and this was just yesterday. I spoke to him. Here's what he said about
in that time in Germany. He was well known that he has a great connection with his players, and he's very detailed oriented, and he's a good guy, a good person. So I went to him and I did my apprenticeship there, and I just trying to find out how he thinks and how he treats the players and stuff. It was phenomenal. And what he did with that team in Mainz at that time, and then he went to Dortmund, and it took a couple of years because I knew his philosophy, how he wants to play. Obviously, his players who stay with him for 3, 4, 5 years, they are running out of gas, and then they have to get new ones in. And I always, when he went to Liverpool too, I told him, give from the guys here who are English fanatics and Liverpool fanatics because they haven't done anything. I said, give him time, give him 2, 3 years. I can promise you that this team you will not recognize anymore.
What was the one thing that really stuck? You can only pick one thing. What was the one thing that really stuck out to you as far as what has led to his success, do you think?
He gives a red line, and under the red line, everybody's his best friend. So he does everything, jokes and everything with everybody, but you can't cross that line. If you cross that line, then you get to know him. And if you're below that line, you're building a unity and an energy in a team that is fantastic. It was unbelievable. And I actually adapted that a little bit from him with like emotional intelligence is one of the most important thing in your team, in your locker room. If the players don't come and they don't like it, forget about it.
So yeah, Thomas Dooley, and he's a German American. His father served in Germany. That's why he spent so much time there, played professionally there for 11 years. And I think one of the more interesting statistics or just facts about him, he didn't get his first cap with the U.S. men until he was 31 years old. Can you imagine? That would never happen today. But then 81 caps, 2 World Cups in the National Soccer Hall of Fame here in the States. For a guy.
By the way, it's pretty hard to find a 31-year-old on the team right now, aside from Sean Johnson.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody. It's easier to find a 17-year-old.
Yeah,
Sean Johnson is barely on the team.
Well, he's been called in lately.
He's the third keeper. He gets called up every time.
Yeah, there must be something there.
I know.
I know.
It's important, of course, but I'm just saying because the change and the development and the culture and the ages that the guys are coming in are just, it's hard to be on 30 and just like you said, getting the first call up at that age is just hard.
But that's why the people at the back and in goal in particular, and I know a lot of the young players are in those positions too. But boy, you've got to be solid in goal going into that World Cup because you have young players that are going to make mistakes that maybe 4 years down the road they won't make the same mistake. So
here's a problem that the U.S. national team has, if we want to talk about this a bit, is that the only goalie who's getting regular minutes is Sean Johnson of the top four, because Zach Steffen is a backup at Man City. Ethan Horvath is a backup at Nottingham Forest. He didn't play the other day. He was a backup. Matt Turner is hurt, and in the summer he becomes a backup in Arsenal. So here you are, your top three goalies, or 3 out of the 4, aren't getting any regular minutes. We saw Steffen have a horror show on one of the goals, and he didn't look great on another one either in the FA Cup semifinal. So, and I think you can attribute that to not playing often. I mean, everybody can make that sort of mistake, and we've seen all goalies of ridiculously high levels make that mistake. And even this year we saw it. We saw it with Donnarumma, with the Italian national team make a mistake like that. Who else? We saw others as well. So, it can happen. But when it happens to somebody like Steffen...
Remember the weekend in MLS where Aloy Room threw it into the back of the net?
Oh, yeah. It was horrible.
Brad Guzan,
these are good goalies.
Off the Olympic.
It happens.
And what was the other one?
But you want these guys to be able to... You want these guys to be able to get minutes and to be playing regularly, because the chances of something like that happen are actually less once you feel comfortable in your own shoes.
100, maybe 1,000% on this. The minutes in goal and that sort of experience is so massively important in goal, I think, compared to any other position on the field. You can't sit and then come in and play, against Uruguay or whoever, which is a nice friendly coming up for them.
Yes, it is.
That's
in Kansas City.
That was an announcement that came from today, but it's tricky, man. I think it's a massive conundrum, and what Greg Berhalter is going to do. I mean, if you had to predict, Zach Steffen's going to play, and
that's what's going to happen.
And then
you can control that. As a national team coach, you can control those things.
Right.
And the maximum that you can do is bring the guy, give him the most amount of minutes that you can right before the competition and all those friendlies on camp, whatever, and then take your decision, because you can't control, club decisions.
All right.
And you just hope that some of these guys go out on loan someplace, where they're going to get regular minutes. I don't even care if it's second division England. That's fine. That's good enough. Get minutes.
Well, that's been out there a lot. I'm curious as to if there's any of that that's going to happen with either Horvath or Steffen or Turner. If Turner ever recovers from this mysterious foot injury, it's a mistake. Well, before we get to Turner, I want to go to that to see if anybody's got any scoop on that. But this is a trivia question. This is a question we have for you, and if you get it right, the first person to get it right, you either have to message me or us on this Soccer in the City Live on YouTube or Facebook, or you can tweet me at Glenn Crooks, and then we'll sort out how you're going to get the tickets with the answer to this. So the first correct answer gets 4 Delta tickets at Yankee Stadium. These are good tickets, man, for New York City.
It's really the Delta 360 Club. So it's actually right below where you broadcast, Glenn. So if they have an issue with anything that you're saying on the radio, if they're listening to you, they can literally look up and yell at you.
That's fantastic.
So there's an incentive to get this question right.
And you might run into a celebrity or two. I saw Anton Tinnerholm and Maxi Morales down there milling around the Yankee Stadium game. So you never know. You never know who you might run into. So there's the question. The first proper response. And the clue, well, I'll just give the clue every time I show the question. The clue is there are 2 that wore 11. One of them is playing in Europe, and the other one is now what is his position? He's a technical director for one of the clubs in MLS, and he's also the all-time leading scorer for New York City against San Jose, the opponent on Sunday? So a very, I think it's a fair question. I like this question, and I do give Roberto credit because he requested that New York City Comms put out a list of the history of players and what numbers they wore, and it's pretty interesting to. I'll never.
Yeah,
ask,
I had to put that together for them, actually, but yes.
Oh, okay. Well, the number 5 will be my favorite one coming up soon, and if anybody can get those, then they're really good. But maybe that's what we'll just do uniform stuff. So let me get this off. Okay. So again, message me, message us on YouTube or Facebook while you're listening to this and watching this now, or tweet me at Glenn Crooks. All right.
You know, there's only been 2 number 10s for New York City. So I was just looking at the list again.
Yeah, it's crazy,
There's only
right?
2 number 10s for New York City in their history.
I was gonna go with that one. Don't give the. Well, you can give it out. I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, the first one.
There's other questions we can ask. Mix Diskerud and Maxi Morales. That's it.
That's it. And Mix Diskerud was no 10. I don't know what he.
And he was number 10 for the national team.
He was.
Yes, he was.
He scored a great goal against who? The Netherlands. I mean, that was his claim to fame with the.
Well, and his claim to fame is that he scored the first goal ever for New York City FC.
He's
in Orlando.
He will always. That's another trivia question that you screwed up, Roberto. I can't ask that one now. So. Oh man. So San Jose. So here we go. So New York City is they're on an attacking roll. We know what they did against Seattle in the home leg. It was just 1-1, but so many great chances. Stefan Fry had a fantastic game, which probably prevented New York City from scoring more. Then the 6 against RSL, the 5 against Toronto FC. San Jose, if they were in, I don't know what to say about San Jose and how they'll defend on this one. I don't know. John, any read on the new San Jose? We know that they got the new coach bump with a pretty nice come from behind win. Christian Espinoza, and
and then before that they won the cup match, the US Open Cup match, right before facing Sounders, and they actually used basically the same system to start with. So what they actually are trying to do is you can call it a 4-3-3 or a 4-1-4-1. The thing is that they defend with a triangle in the middle of the field, especially Remedy, Gregus, and Jewel trying to protect the central channel. And they have a different kind of pressure. They are still using that intensity to pressure. Of course, they're not using a man-to-man marking, but they are pressuring with Montero, with Espinosa, with Bovise, trying to win the ball as close as possible to the opposition team, and then try to operate really quick and get into the box. So
that's a good front 6 too, by the way. You just called out. You know that those are good players.
Very decent, yeah.
They are.
And New York City better get its act together defensively. And we don't know yet if Thiago Martins is going to be ready for the game on Sunday.
Yeah, and especially, again, coming out of the back, trying to build from the back with Callens or Thiago Martins. That ball, as soon as the ball goes from those 2 center backs to the wider areas, that should be a trigger for San Jose to go in pressure. And that's the idea that they're having on using the amount of intensity that they used to have on the man-to-man marking, plus trying to get a little bit more of a compact shape behind them and not have to run that much on defense, but like running as a team, compact and not leaving spaces instead of everybody running with their own man. So,
but notable,
it's solid in the sense. Sorry, Glenn, I finish with this.
No, that's solid.
Right. It's solid in the sense that is not too away from the concepts that they were playing, but closing down spaces and making them less vulnerable.
Well, I tell you, the thing that stands out is they were trailing Seattle 2-0, and they came back and won 4-3. I mean, that's significant.
3-1 as well.
And they will meet Seattle again, right, in the U.S. Open Cup. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that the next match? Those two will play.
Yeah.
And then Tell us, whether it's both of you or one of you, tell us a little bit more about Christian Espinoza, 3 goals and an assist, and the obvious MLS Player of the Week.
I'll leave that for John.
I mean, he's fantastic. He's really fantastic. He's one of the best players in the team. The thing is, with Matias, I think he had a lot of roles to play, not only on the wider areas, because he started playing from the right side of the attack coming in, right, trying to get the goal in front of him, but at the same time tracking back and defending, trying to switch in the middle and create some, being, in some moments playing the number 10. I think the addition of Jamiro Monteiro helped them, of course, because now they have speed in both channels, but at the same time with Monteiro they have what they don't have with the young guy. I forgot his name now. Mexican American or
Cowell.
K. Cowell. Because K. Cowell is not that experienced, while Monteiro is a real experienced guy. And he keeps the speed. So in those moments of, like we were talking before, staying on, Monteiro, of course, is 10 times better probably than Cade, and taking decisions on the last third. So Espinoza is once again putting a lot for the team, but he is shining with the ball on his feet, shining with the service, shining with the finished product, because he's a really well product. I mean, he played for Boca. He played on Boca with the Esqueloto brothers. They were the coaches with Espinoza there. He came out from the Huracan Academy. Huracan was the team that made him pro. And he went to Spain. He had a little bit of ups and downs there. And from there, he came to San Jose on loan. And after one season, San Jose made the transfer permanent. So he is a San Jose player. Well, he enjoys MLS.
He came on loan from Villarreal that lost to Liverpool 2-0 today in the opening leg.
He didn't play that much there.
No.
But there's one thing that we've got to add about this game, because I think it's important context. Okay, the game was 3-1, and everything seemed to be just in hand for Seattle. And then Stephen Fry made just an absolute horrific play on the second goal, and it's all on him. And then the whole team was rattled, and then they came right back down and they scored again, and then they tied the game. So if Stephen Fry, you could almost say if Stephen Fry doesn't make that mistake, it's very hard for this team to come back, I think. But once that happened, Seattle was rattled, and then at the end, they wound up winning it in a penalty kick in stoppage time.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't know, because one of the things that Christian said right after the game was like, attributing to that, I mean, something that we learned with Matias and that we're going to keep with us is we're going to fight every single ball. We're not going to pay attention to score lines and give up on any single game. We're going to fight every second, every minute. And he took, that responsibility to take that PK, and he was having fun with it. He refers like, this is any kid's dream. You're playing in your block, you're playing on the park, you're playing with your brother on the house, and you want to have that PK in the last minute to win or lose the game. And I had it, and I took it, and I thought about it before taking it. Like, this is why I'm here, and I want to make it.
And he made
I think we've got a winner.
Really? Oh,
I think we have a winner.
Where?
On the comments, John B. And I think this might be
wait.
Oh yeah, wait. Glenn can.
Oh, he does. He has the initials. It's okay to put it. All right, let's go. So this is John B. And the initials NJG and JH. So now the next trivia question is, who do those initials represent? Let's go back to the. Let's go back to the.
Come on, John. We need full names here.
Yeah.
You don't get charged by the character. Let's go.
Well,
let's settle that he won, and we want him to write the full names.
All right.
Yes.
All right, we do need a full name, but here again is the question. Tati Castellanos wears number 11. Who are the 2 other players in New York City FC history to wear number 11? So I think he or she were hiding the names. We're not. You're winning, man. So we need the full name. So see what you come up with here on the comment, and then we'll sort out how we're going to get.
And we're good at deciphering this stuff, aren't we?
Yeah, that is good. And I love this question because these two, I mean, one, everybody will go, oh, if they didn't get it, they go, oh, and then the other one will be like, here we go. And there's your winner. Ned Grabavoy and Jack Harrison both wore number 11, in addition to Tati Cassiano. So there's been 311.
And it's Grabavoy, who is New York City's all-time leading scorer against the San Jose Earthquakes with 2 goals.
2 goals.
2 goals.
2 goals.
They've only played, well, and San Jose's never beat New York City. So what is it?
No, it's 4-0-1.
4-0-1, yeah. Yeah, so congratulations, Ned Grabavoy, for having that record for however long it lasts. How many of those Castellanos have against San? He doesn't have any, does he?
I think he might have one. I'm not sure. I got to double check.
One, okay.
One.
And then Jack Harrison trying to get it done for Jesse Marsh now. How about that?
Yeah. What about that beautiful embrace with Patrick Vieira after the game?
Oh yeah,
that was awesome.
That was nice, and actually Patrick had a nice hug for Jesse and some words of encouragement, I'm sure.
Yep.
But I think if there was bad blood, and I actually think there was, maybe bad blood would be wrong. I think Jesse Marsh got under the skin. By the way, John B, those are the correct answers. Ned Grabavoy, Jack Harrison, wearing number 11. He gets 4 Delta tickets to this Sunday's NYCFC San Jose Earthquakes match. But Jesse Marsh got under the skin of Patrick Vieira. There's no question about it.
Yeah, and part of the rivalry here.
Yeah, but remember what Jesse. No, but here's why. This is why I think he respected Jesse Marsh, but I think he found him very annoying, and he wouldn't be the first person to find Jesse Marsh annoying. And the reason, because Patrick wouldn't do what Jesse did the week leading into one of the derbies. Jesse Marsh was quoted, and he made sure everything Jesse did was calculated in order to try to get under the skin or motivate his team. Nobody respects us. All that stuff.
He loved that.
Yeah, he loved that. And it's great to be the underdog. But he said that Pirlo, Villa, and Lampard got all the calls, and they would dive, and first of all, those 3 guys are not divers, number 1. Right. But he was complaining, basically putting it in the referee's mind that these guys get all the calls. They draw these fouls that are phantom, and Patrick was pissed. He just was like, and he just couldn't believe that his opponent on the weekend would say something like that during the week, and it would tick me off too. But
here's the situation, right? Marsh using NBA tactics, because you see this in the NBA every single press conference, especially during playoffs. Okay, about they're looking at the stat sheet and they're looking at all the fouls and this guy's diving and so they pressure the referee. This is classic. This is every game it happens, and Marsh just took it from basketball and adopted it for soccer. And I'm sure Patrick Vieira doesn't normally see stuff like that. And he was like, what the hell? What is this?
And then,
anyways, Jesse Marsh is not going to be Jesse Marsh is not going to be in MLS. The Roy Keane of Patrick Vieira playing career.
Well, yeah, that's another thing.
That's too much.
I just want to remind John B. Hopefully you're still watching, but you need to message me with your information, i.e., your email address, because your 4 tickets will be sent digitally, and you can put that on the YouTube just like you did these responses. I will not expose that. I'll just be able to see it here. So I need your email, John.
No, he's got to do that private chat. That's exposed.
No, I'm going
that will go out exposed.
What chat? Well, what chat?
He puts it in the chat that he just sent this in. Everybody can see it.
All right. Because it's going to go on YouTube. What he needs to do is send you a DM on your Twitter account with that
John B, you got to follow me on Twitter if you don't already, at Glenn Crooks.
If not, put your email address out there, Glenn.
And
on the chat.
All right. So, John B, just confirm that you can send me that information on
it's easy.
DM.
It's easy. Just follow Glenn and send a DM with information. And that's it.
Okay.
Simple.
Apologize, I didn't have all the technical aspects of this worked out, but we got the
Hey,
four.
you got the trophy.
We got the four.
gift.
We got the 4 tickets given out, which is tremendous. So we
And
will.
you got the tech team here between John and I.
And we will, we'll be able to, from what I can gather, and again, thanks to New York City FC, both marketing and tickets for giving these to us to give to you, and hopefully we'll be able to do this every week on our Soccer in the City live. And like I said in the tweet, I know everybody wants to tune in just to listen to us anyway, but maybe a little added incentive. You can get some tickets out of it. I would do it. I would do it. All right, what else are we doing here? Where are we? Oh, Pumas Seattle.
Okay.
We've got to give our best to a 10:30. Why is it's 9:30 in Mexico, right? That this thing is kicking off?
Yeah.
Why is that? What?
I have no idea why it's not late.
Yeah, it's late there, and it's on this side of the country, the Pacific Northwest, is 7:30. So it's good for both following factions.
I wonder if people are going to start. I'm sorry. I'm wondering if people are going to start following me and claiming they're John B.
Yeah.
I just got somebody following me here, and I don't think it's the same guy. So you have to identify yourself somehow. And prove it's you. Well, this is too much.
This is a nightmare.
Can this be? It's not a nightmare. We're getting 4 tickets out there. Why is it a nightmare? How is it a nightmare?
I'm gonna write you. I want those tickets. I'm
All
not
right.
doing. I guess I'm working. Maybe I can't go.
All right. Anyway.
Hey,
yeah. And go ahead, John.
Yeah, I just want to make something clear. I want a clarification on the way that this final 2 legs are going to be decided, because away goals will not hold any value in the final round.
Yes, that is accurate.
I know
100%.
it's accurate. That's what I'm saying.
No, but
That's
I'm
why
telling
I'm saying
Glenn.
it.
Oh, because I said it wrong earlier.
Yes.
I did.
Okay, I just want to make
No, I'm glad you cleared that up. You should have.
Yeah, no, in the final it isn't there, and we just got news that that Ignacio Dineno, who's the Pumas starting 9, he had been hurt and missed the last 2 or 3 games for Pumas, and according to Andre Martin of Fox Sports, he's playing tonight.
He's playing. Okay. Well, he's probably gonna, play with some infiltration or something, and they're gonna probably test him because they need him. Of course, you need him. You need someone. You need him at home. And he is being the top scorer for them. He's been really important. I think I mentioned before that he played with Xavier Arriaga, the Sanders center back. They played together in Ecuador. So Javier, he should know very well how to Dineno moves. Of course, maybe not in the context of what Pumas does, but if you put together a lot of work on analysis that Seattle Sanders does on the opposition analysis and what Xavi knows about Dineno, I think it's a good matchup to work against a really good forward that was actually close to come to MLS before going to Pumas.
Yeah, so let me give you some stats on him. So far this season, he's played 12 games. He's started 8, only has 1 goal. He has 1 yellow card, and he has a red card as well so far this season. I saw the red card. The red card he got was horrific. It shouldn't have been a red card. It was a yellow card. Referee totally blew it after going to VAR, because they'd given him a yellow card. They went to VAR and only saw the replay, because I was looking at what the referee was looking at the entire time. And he was only looking at the play in slow motion. You can never determine that sort of action in slow motion of what intent is or what was happening, severity. You just can't. And they only looked at it in slow motion, and then they changed it based on that. And I thought that was just an absolute horrific decision. So that's that. Anyway, so he's supposed to be playing tonight, but he hasn't been that effective this year. As I said, only 1 goal in 12 games, 8 of them starts.
Yeah, he's a top scorer for them, anyways, as a team. And he was the star for the team that won the title. He is very influential on their attack. But I want to close.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Glenn. No, because I want.
They
I
made
want
the
to close the loop.
semifinals, John. I don't think that they haven't won the title. They made the semifinals. It was a shock that they made the semifinals that year.
Yeah. But I just wanted, like I said, Glenn, I want to close the loop on the procedure or the tiebreaker for the finals.
Yeah, go for it.
Just so, like we said, the away goals are not counting anymore. So if the two teams are equal at the end of the 90 minutes, and on the second leg, so the two
180.
Right, the 180, the two games, you have 2 periods of 15 minutes of extra time. And then if you still have, and on those periods of extra time, you still have a 6th substitute that you can use. So the 6th substitution will be allowed if the game goes to extra time on the second leg.
What do you think about the final only being pretty much compliant with what UEFA is doing now? I don't know. I just don't like rules being different for one match when there's been all these other matches played under the same. It's like I didn't like when VAR was introduced mid-season. I thought that was. I know why MLS did it. They're just trying to get through it and be good at it by the beginning of the following season. But I don't know. I don't like rules changes. And yet MLS wouldn't change the rule of the on goal kicks where you could play within your own box when that was instituted by IFAB. When that rule was changed. So it's like I don't know. But I personally I don't like in the middle of something it changing like that. That's
I don't
dramatic.
compare with I don't want to compare it with VAR because it's different. Adding VAR to the competition when the competition has already started. But in the other examples, I can see the point if, like on this one or the one with the one you were referring about, the goal kick with the defenders inside the box, is written from the beginning of the competition. So from the beginning of these, for example, Concacaf Champions, every team knew that
right.
the away goals will count until semifinals. So you knew it from the beginning. If you get to the final, away goals will not count, and I'm okay with that. I would love probably to keep it counting the away goals, but if it's in the context of the competition rule book from the
Right,
beginning,
I see what you're saying.
that's fine.
No, I hear what you're saying, and you're right. You're right. Like the VAR was thrown onto the MLS coaches, and in the Concacaf competition as well, right?
Right.
Right.
The octagonal. They threw it in the middle, and I think it was good that they did. By the way, I thought it was horrific that they didn't start with VAR.
Right.
I'm glad they fixed it. I'm going to disagree with you as far as that's concerned because I think that. I mean, it was even for everybody, basically, because it started at the same time for everybody. So I didn't have a problem with that. Obviously, I would have wanted it to start the entire competition with VAR, but at least get it in. And if it makes things right, then fine.
There's a pro referees conference call tomorrow. I'm always excited by these. So I'm going to be on there, and I'm going to ask about a couple of things. One will be, I really want to know why Carol Ann Chenard at Toronto didn't look at one of the replay angles that showed that Tylis Magna was clipped by Cozy Thompson. So I think it's a fair question. So how is it that she didn't look at all the different angles before making her decision to have who's the referee? I'm forgetting because I didn't necessarily blame him. But anyway, that's the one where pro referees apologized, and I'm just always curious as to, how they come up with these decisions or lack thereof.
Yeah.
And then the other big thing to ask is, this past weekend was the target weekend for MLS to do their VAR from a central location, which is going to be Atlanta. But the reason it's being delayed is they're having technical difficulties. And here's the technical difficulties are because you still have to have the setup at the home stadium, obviously, but getting it from there to Atlanta I guess there's been some glitches. I don't know anything specific about it, but they haven't sorted out how to properly, and time it so that it's, it's not an extensive period of time. But all these other leagues do it, so I'm sure they'll sort it out at some point.
They'll sort it out. So here's the thing. I've been a proponent for that since day one. Having said that, I'm really happy that it hasn't been implemented yet, because had it been, I never would have found out exactly why the first New York City FC goal was disallowed. And when at halftime, I got a chance to speak to Armando Villarreal, who's in charge of VAR at Citi Field, and he gave me a detailed explanation of why the goal was disallowed and what camera was used to see the fact that Alfredo Morales was, they used one camera angle to see that he was offside, and then they used a camera angle behind the goal to see that Castellanos' shot, which was going wide, actually hit him in the head and then went into the goal. So at least I didn't see Morales offside at the beginning. I was wondering why they call that off. In the chat that we have from VAR, all they said was Alfredo Morales was in an offside position, and that's all they gave us, which wasn't enough information. So we also spoke about the fact that we need more information when they send those texts out to say, hey, it was this camera and this reason, and this is where he was, and send it out.
I'm taking notes. I'm going to ask this question tomorrow, Roberto.
You should.
Just for you,
absolutely.
Man.
And we need more information, because the whole point of this is to be transparent. And if they and if in Australia they have figured out the way, okay, for them to present the audio and the video of VAR talking, right? Because they'll show them what they're looking at, what the referee is looking at the monitor, what VAR is telling them, and they can listen to the conversations. Then why the hell can't we do that here already?
Well, they do it here only when they want it.
I've never heard a broadcast where they've shown the conversation live that the referee is having with VAR. I've never seen that. That's different.
You never mentioned broadcast, but they do.
Well, no, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, the broadcast. I don't care about it, a week afterwards. I need to know then.
Now, Howard Webb,
why is it being disallowed?
That's a while away. Howard Webb has discussed that. It's not happening. There's other things that they're catering to, and the biggest thing is a central location. So, yep, no more Jorge Gonzalez or Armando Villarreal in the hallways of Yankee Stadium at halftime to get their explanation.
By the way, they're such nice guys. At least both of them that we got a chance to speak to. Such nice guys. More than willing to give us the right information. It humanizes them in a considerable way. It actually makes things better. It makes things so much better to be able to get to know these guys and talk to them and see what they like and what they don't like and things that they, that they're for, and just get to know them better. Just like we got to meet Matt Geiger a couple of times at the soccer convention, the coaches soccer convention, and what a great open guy, great personality, happy to talk about even the most crazy incidents that happened in his career, and they were full of them, right? The chance that I got to talk to him about the Mexico-Panama game, and where he was vilified by giving a penalty to Mexico, where they said it was non-existent. And then I got a chance to see a replay from the other side of the field. I only got like one chance to see it. It was Luis Tapia had put it on Vine. Do you remember Vine, which gave you 6-second replays?
Yeah.
So he had that replay, and he had it on Vine, and he put it out on Vine. And this is like 2-3 days later, and it was like an oh my god moment, because then you see what was the name? The Panamanian defender Torres from Seattle, Roman Torres. What you couldn't see originally in the broadcast, okay, and you never saw until 2 days later, was that Roman Torres literally gathered the ball with his hand into his belly to cover it up. And that was the angle that Matt Geiger saw. And then when they're showing replays after the game, he says he's in the locker room and he's watching the replays and he's watching the news and he's seeing all of this. And all he sees are the replays that the TV had been showing, which was from one angle. He said he was absolutely horrified that he had screwed up the game and that he didn't sleep for nights. And he says it wasn't until much later on that he saw that same replay that I saw that he was finally able to put that to rest and wow, okay, I didn't screw it up. But Mexican TV and a lot of media, I didn't, aside from Luis Omar Tapia, I didn't see anybody else show that replay or talk about that angle that would have exonerated him, that would have said, hey, you made the right call.
Referees are in a pressure situation, and they never make their decisions are never right because somebody on the other side is always questioning it. So it's a fairly unforgivable job, and they do have to have almost a sense of humor about things. I mean, you talk to Howard Webb, and he had some difficult moments in Europe where he had to, have armed guards leaving the stadium and things like that. No, that's
wasn't he the referee for Spain, Netherlands, and he missed he missed the Frank de Jong kick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one he talks about freely, and So anything else you'd like me to ask the referees tomorrow, guys? This is a good chance here, and I'll put it out to the audience too if anybody's listening or watching and thinks that and something that's cogent, not like you know what I mean. Any cogent if you got anything.
Who does that, by the way? Do I do that? Does John do that?
No, I'm talking about people that might be watching that might do that. I mean, I've seen supporters at the games. Yeah. Yeah. There's three different avenues to watch the game, or to watch this, and there's many more to watch the game, I suppose.
And it'll be on WFAN on their website as well tomorrow.
All right, so we had a winner today for our first time that we've done the 4-ticket thing, and I'm trying to. So here was the trivia question: Tati Castellanos wears number 11. Who are the two other players to wear number 11 in New York City history? And the answer was Jack Harrison and Ned Grabavoy with 2 goals against San Jose, the all-time leading goal scorer for New York City. They're playing San Jose on Sunday. Grabavoy now an executive with Portland, and Jack Harrison, we know what he's doing for Leeds. And so congratulations to this guy who got the answer, John B. Now, John B., I'm going to do this because I want to make sure that all you're accounted for here, but in order to secure these, please just email me at glenncrooks01@gmail.com. And if anybody else wants to email me and just,
don't spam them.
Tell me what you want to think. Yeah, don't
spam them.
Yeah, don't send me any more things to buy because my inbox is full of that stuff. But regardless, all right. For Roberto Abramowitz, for John Rojas, I'm Glenn Crooks. This has been Soccer in the City Live. You'll be able to see this again. We'll all retweet it, but also it'll be up on a podcast from WFAN, hopefully within the next 24 hours. And send me all the things you want to sell right there. Send them all to me. All right, guys.
Don't
good
forget
night.
Radio on Sunday.
Radio on Sunday. There it is on the lower third. 12:45 airtime. New York City FC Network, English, Spanish. Good night. Bye.